Hello students, welcome to 10th standard. I'm your educator Dr. Hina Devnani and I'll be teaching you a very interesting subject, that is science. Today we are going to do chapter number 6, which is a part of biology. In science we have three subjects: physics, chemistry and biology. So today we'll be starting with biology chapter number 6, that is life processes. This is the first part of this chapter, in which we are going to deal with only the introductory part. From next part we'll be dealing with the main topics. So let's begin. Now, as the name of the chapter is life processes, so let us understand what is the meaning of life processes. Now, as I said that this is under biology, first of all let me tell you what is biology. Biology is nothing but study of living things. When you look around yourself, you might see that there are many different things around you. Some are living, some are non-living, and I think you all are able to distinguish between living and non-living things, right? How do you distinguish between living and non-living? You have studied this in lower standards, that living organisms grow, non-living things do not grow, living things move, non-living thing doesn't move, and many such characteristics. Now, in this chapter, we are going to deal with 7 such characteristics which are required to distinguish a living thing and a non-living thing. And from now onwards, we are not going to use the word living thing. Instead, for living things, we'll be using the term living organisms. Living organisms include both plants and animals. Along with plants and animals, there are certain other organisms which are not visible with our naked eyes, and they are called as microorganisms. So the plants, the animals, the microorganisms, all these can be termed under living organisms. Now, let us see what are these 7 characteristics. Movement, we all know living things move. Respiration, living organisms can respire. Sensitivity, living organisms have sensitivity towards the environment. Growth, living organisms grow. Excretion, living organisms remove the waste materials out from their body. Reproduction, living organisms can give birth to another living organisms. And nutrition, to sustain in life and to grow and to perform all these characteristics, living organisms need energy, and they get this energy by taking the nutritious food. This process is called as nutrition. One by one, we'll be dealing with all these. Now, what are all these? Why they are so important? These all are called as life processes because these all are required for a living being to continue to live. And these are the actual characteristics which are responsible for creating a difference between a living and a non-living. If something is living, it will carry out all these 7 life processes. So let's see one by one. We'll begin with movement. Both plants and animals have the ability to move. Now you'll say that animals, you have seen animals moving, but you have not seen plants moving. Is it so? Have I written something wrong over here? Both plants and animals have the ability to move? No, they actually have the ability to move. They do not locomote. There is a difference between locomotion and movement. Animals show locomotion, but plants do not show locomotion. But they have the ability to move. The movement of plant is restricted. They cannot change places. The movement is very slow, so you cannot observe the actual movement, but they do show movement. They are rooted and they move slowly as they keep growing. Their roots move down into the soil and their stems move up towards the light. Animals, on the other hand, move quickly and they can move their entire bodies. But plants cannot move their entire bodies, they can move only some part. They show bending movement, they show opening and closing of the flower, and various other movements. Whereas plants move in search of food, in search of shelter. Shelter means a place to hide in or to live in or to avoid danger. And humans are included in animals. So humans also show the movement. You can see here some movements have been shown. See, this and this is animal movement And here, three plant movements can be seen. These three are plant movements. So now, do you agree with me that even plants move? It's not that only animals show movement, even plants show movement. And you can clearly see here the movement of plants. This movement is restricted, whereas in animals, the movement is not restricted. Let's move to second life process, that is respiration. Respiration means the process of extracting energy out of the food we eat. We all eat food, right? Why do we eat food? We eat food to get energy. And why do we need energy? We need energy to carry out all our different life processes. And how do we extract this energy from food? We extract it by a process called as respiration. By respiration, the energy from the food comes out, and that energy can be used to grow or to replace worn out parts and to move and to do various other activities. Now, this respiration takes place in a special organelle of the cell. In ninth standard, we have studied cell organelles. So you might be knowing which is this cell organelle. This is mitochondria. You can see here, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Now, do you know why it is called as powerhouse? Because mitochondria is the place from which we get energy. It is the place which carry out respiration, and it is the place which is responsible for extracting energy. That's why we call mitochondria as the powerhouse of the cell. I hope it is clear now. Third is sensitivity. All living organisms are sensitive. What is the meaning of sensitive? Sensitive means all the living organisms are aware of changes in their environment. They can sense the changes from their environment, and they also respond according to these changes. Animals respond very quickly, but plants do not require very quickly. They are less sensitive. Animals require to certain stimuli. This is stimuli. Stimuli means the external changes that occur in the environment. So animals respond quickly to stimuli such as heat, light, sound, touch, chemicals. Why they respond so quickly? Because animals have sense organs. How many sense organs do we have? We have 5 sense organs. So all the animals have such type of sense organs like taste, smell, hear, feel, and see. So we have 5 different types of sense organs, and because of that only we are able to receive the stimuli and we are able to respond it very quickly. Whereas in plants there are no sense organs, but still they show sensitivity. You can see here, this is the touch me not plant, mimosa plant. See how it is showing sensitivity. As you touch this mimosa plant, it will droop its leaves and it will close. So that means it is sensitive to the touch. So sensitivity is also one very important kind of life process which is shown by animals as well as plants. That means all the living organisms. Next is growth. All living organisms grow, whether they are plants, whether they are animals, whether they are microorganisms, each and every living organism grow. Plants continue growing throughout their lives, whereas animals stop growing once they reach adulthood. Even if in an animal the growth stops, materials within an animal's body will still be replaced. It will go on replacing. We have repair mechanism in our body. That means if any part is damaged, it can be repaired, and that is because of growth. Our blood cells, they die after a certain period of time and then new blood cells are formed. So that is because of growth. So growth is one very, very important characteristic of a living organism. Then another important characteristic is excretion. Excretion means getting rid of all the waste products. In our body, when we carry out respiration, when we carry out nutrition process, everything, and many other life processes, at that time what happens, a lot of waste products are formed. Now these waste products can be either useless or they can be harmful to the body. So what our body needs to do, it needs to get rid of it, and getting rid of all these waste products is done by a very important process which is called as excretion. Excretion is the process of getting rid of metabolic waste. Metabolic waste means the waste produced due to all the chemical reactions that have occurred in our body. Plants can store these waste substances in their leaves. And when the leaves get aged and when they are about to die, when they are about to fall off, all these waste products will go into these leaves and then the leaves will fall off. So this is their method of excretion. Whereas in animals, special excretory organs are present. In humans, which is the excretory organ? It is kidney. By kidneys, we remove all the waste products of our body. There are some other excretory organs such as our skin. Our skin can remove sweat, and along with sweat, many types of waste products can be removed. Along with that, while breathing out, we remove carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is also a kind of metabolic waste. So these are different mechanisms by which animals can remove waste material. Plants, they can remove the waste materials by sending all the waste materials to the aged leaves which are about to fall off. Here there is a special note which you need to understand: getting rid of feces. Feces means undigested food. When we eat food, some part of the food is digested, whereas rest is undigested. So we remove it from the body by a process which is called as egestion. And here we are talking about excretion. So don't get confused between egestion and excretion. Egestion means removal of undigested food, whereas excretion means removal of all the metabolic waste. Generally, this metabolic waste is nitrogenous waste. Ammonia, urea, uric acid, such type of nitrogenous waste. So when we remove all the nitrogenous waste from our body, that is called as excretion. And this excretion is done by urinating or sweating or removing carbon dioxide. And when we get rid of the undigested food, it is known as egestion. So there's a difference between excretion and egestion. Next life process, which is a very important life process, is reproduction. Reproduction means when a living organism produces another living organism which is similar to itself. That is known as reproduction. All living things must produce offsprings like themselves in order for their species to survive. This process is called as reproduction. Now, what do you all think? Is it important? Is reproduction important? Yes, it is very important. Why? Because we know that all living organisms have a certain period of life on this earth, and after that period, they die. Now, before dying, if they do not reproduce, then their species will get extinct. They won't be able to survive on this earth. So, it is very important that before dying, they must produce another offsprings which are of same species. Plants produce seeds that give rise to new plants of the same species. Animals either lay eggs or they have babies. What do humans have? Humans have babies. Humans do not lay eggs. Reproduction can be of two types: sexual reproduction or asexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, two parents are involved, a male and a female, and there is union of these two gametes. Gametes means the male reproductive cell and the female reproductive cell. Whereas in asexual reproduction, what happens? There is only one parent and that one parent can reproduce itself. Here you can see this is a hydra. It reproduces by the help of budding. This is a bud. Bud means a small outgrowth on the body. Slowly this bud will grow and detach from the parent body and it will have its individual life. So a hydra is produced here. In this way, there are different types of asexual reproduction which we will be dealing later on. But for now, you just need to understand what is reproduction. And then we have nutrition. What is nutrition? It is taking enough food. Here you can take, see, this is, I think, most of the children's favorite cartoon. This person or this cartoon is having, this child is having this food. What do you think? Why is he having this food? Is it important? Yes, it is very important, because if we don't take our food, we won't get energy. And if we don't get energy, we won't grow. And if we do not grow, we will not be able to carry out other life processes. That means we won't be able to survive. So food is very important for us. And taking enough food is known as nutrition. Nutrition is needed for energy and growth. Both plants and animals, they need food. Now there's one difference here. Plants are able to make their own food by a process which is called as photosynthesis. They use sunlight and turn simple molecules like carbon dioxide and water into more complex carbohydrate molecules. Whereas animals are unable to make their own food. So they rely on other plants and other animals for their nutrition. In the next video, we'll be dealing nutrition in detail. So at that time, I'll explain you what type of nutrition does plant show and what type of nutrition does animals show. Animals take in complex substances and break them down into small and simple soluble molecules. And then these simple soluble molecules go inside the mitochondria and their energy is extracted. And this energy is used for growth. So today we have studied 7 important life processes. I hope you have understood, and I want you all to make notes of this from now itself so that this will be useful later on. If you have any doubts, you can contact me. Till that, keep studying and have a nice day.